Hello Aquarius, and welcome to your June forecast. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's great to see everybody. Before we get started, a quick reminder, you can always use this for sun, rising, and moon. As always, let's begin with channeled messages, the first of which was an image of somebody learning how to ride a bike. To me, this represents the power and the importance of persistence, of diligence, of also just discipline. All of these things are like tenets to success. And sometimes I think we're so used to things being instantaneous now in the world of social media and technology that we forget it's kind of messy in the beginning when you're learning. For instance, learning language. For those of you that have children, you know it begins with phonemes, with sounds, then eventually the letters, then eventually words, sentences, paragraphs. It takes time. Learning to walk, same sort of thing. You have to crawl first, then you can walk, then you can run. Riding a bike, you're probably not going to get it right on the first time. You're going to fall a few times. You might scrape your elbow or your knee. Eventually, though, through persistence comes success. So I didn't even put it on the slide, but as I'm channeling and kind of pulling it all together in my mind and talking directly to you, Aquarius, let go of perfection. Stick with persistence. Eventually, success will come. I'd like to talk for a second about that very last bullet. Success is the best revenge. I don't believe in revenge. But when somebody says you can't do something, when there's a lack of support or whatever might be going on, you can use that. You can transmute that. So instead of trying to seek revenge, what you do is just say, you know what, I'm going to prove my own capacity to myself, and I'm going to prove you wrong by being successful, happy, well-adjusted, and I'm going to lead by example. So you can transmute one of those emotions and use it as a motivator if you need to. So give yourself space to learn, give yourself space and time and patience to make mistakes, and if others lack faith or vision, prove to them that you are just as capable as you always thought you were. The next thing that I saw in dreams was a child that was in pain or crying or just trying to work through something, very much connected to what we see in the top card there, the Five of Pentacles. And this represents a moment. It doesn't have to be in childhood. It could be in the recent past. It could be anywhere in your lifetime. But it was a time where you were vulnerable because that's what that child represents in that card. And the vulnerability was not respected or supported or nurtured. So if you put yourself out there and someone didn't believe in you or they laughed at you or they just shut the door, this wound is coming back around for whatever reason in June, and there's a chance to once and for all kind of heal it and release it. The universe also is conveying this message to me right now as we're speaking, which is you're enough, you're self-sufficient, and you don't need the validation of that other person. It would have been nice to have, or the support for that matter. It would have been nice to have, but because you got through it anyway, now you know just how strong you are. This month, whatever you need to do to heal that from the past, for those of you that went through it, please do. The other thing that I'm getting here is that some of you are just you're very hard on yourself. You expect a lot. And this could be perfectionism. This could be overachieving energy. It may be because of something in the Five of Pentacles from the past, but for some of you, it might just be because you expect perfection at the beginning. So this is a continuation of what we were just talking about. Write a new script for yourself. This month is just about being the best version of yourself, not being the best or not doing it perfectly on the first time. As long as you're giving it your all, you are succeeding. Success is subjective. So whatever you want to turn that up to be, allow that to be your definition. Don't feel like you have to fulfill someone else's script or their own dreams or expectations. There could also be pain between you and someone who is either not connected to you anymore. So maybe like some of you are going through divorce or separation and there's just not communication. Or there's been a transition energy where someone has transitioned into spirit. They passed away. And if you are dealing with someone who's crossed over like that, the conversation continues. As you know, if you watch my channel, both of my parents and many of my other relatives have already gone into spirit. And I have frequent sort of visitations from those relatives and loved ones in dreams. And we're continuing to work through some of the life lessons. And they're still here to support me as I go through all the ups and downs of life. So my message here to you is if you have something that you need to say, there's a captive audience on the other side. And part of their karmic agreement now is that they have to receive. They can't really talk back anymore. And it's great if you had someone in your life that wasn't a good listener or shut you down. Now you can say what you need to and just let it go. It also works for people that are living but have disconnected from you. Just in silent prayer or meditation, or you can talk out loud in your room, whatever, you can just say what you need to and let it go. Speaking the energy and releasing it is a really therapeutic way of getting into the energy of judgment, which is reinvention, release, new beginnings, rebirth. And that, my friends, is really what I see coming through for Aquarius. There was a lot of healing messages here. And again, that ability to get back on the bike and accomplish what it is that you want to do. You're going to get to the finish line. It doesn't matter how many attempts it takes, all right? Let's go ahead now, shuffle the cards and see what other messages are coming through. Pretty exciting to see the world there and the environment. Some really big opportunities are knocking. We'll talk more about it when I get into the whole spread here, but jumps out right away. Let's begin with your catalyst. We have mugwort coming through, a symbol of magic. This could be connected to the magician. It's also associated with moon. So that also is a nice connection here. It's a card of healing as well. So when we're looking at what's possible this month, your ability to manifest does come from the healing work, which we talked about in the channeled messages. And the lunar connection here, the moon, also represents for some of you perhaps one lunar cycle, one additional month. There could also be some of the energy in the moon card, which is overcoming fears, looking through illusions, dealing with anything like dishonesty or anybody that's not being forthcoming, and really moving beyond those relationships so that there's nothing standing in the way. So I get all of that when I look at mugwort. But also I really do get a connection to magician energy since this is so tied to magic. So one thing that is coming through really clear from guides at this moment in time is be clear on what it is that you want to manifest. The clarity of the vision will help you with how quickly you can recognize the synchronicity, and also just how quickly you can really start to get into your own power and capacity. Okay? So let's get into the center of the spread here and see what's going on. By the way, I noticed a couple of other, speaking of synchronicities, things that align to what we were talking about. I mentioned the judgment card. We have the judge here. And then we also have several, not just one, but three cards showing ends and beginnings. So the world and the fool are at opposite ends of the major arcana. And then we have death, which is a portal, and judgment, which is also a portal. So you have 4 transitional cards. 6 of Swords is also a transitional card. Suffice it to say, it's almost like there's several doors of opportunities that may be presenting themselves to you this month. Things are moving at a rapid clip. So you're not stuck. I can tell you that much. If you were stuck, that stagnation is about to end. So buckle your seatbelts and enjoy all that this month wants to bring forth. All right, let's go ahead and get to that center card here, the Page of Wands. I love this illustration here because we see the power of demonstration here, someone playing an instrument. Sometimes words just aren't sufficient to express yourself. If there's something that you need to convey, try showing it through how you are basically acting. So we talked about leading by example. So actions speak louder than words. For those of you that are trying to maybe pitch a concept or an idea to someone, a prototype or an illustration or pointing to a real life example, all of these things could be just as, if not more valuable than trying to articulate it with just words. So using multiple ways of communication, particularly nonverbal ones, to convey your message. That's the first thing that I get. We also get this harmonizing sort of energy here when it comes to relationships. This wands basically can represent passion in your life, fire in your life. And it feels like some of you are starting to put more of a focus, perhaps in relationships or just in things that create passion, joy, and inspiration. And when you work your passion, that actually naturally will act as a sort of magnetic component in your life. So you'll be more successful. Do what you love. Work and breathe and think in that sort of frequency of love. And that's when you really find your power. The page can also represent communication or receipt of something. So some of you, especially since the Six of Swords was crossing this, you may decide to send something out, or something could be coming to you, a new idea, a new opportunity, etc. It's also just a time to share your ideas, and that's what I get with this. All right, I just mentioned it, but let's talk about what's crossing that, which is the Six of Swords. So perhaps because of your own inspiration, like an epiphany, an idea, something comes through and you think to yourself, I'm ready to take the next step. I'm ready to move forward. Six of Swords represents, I said it earlier, like there's no more stagnation this month. Something's breaking through, something's opening up, and maybe, opportunity is knocking, or you're going to go chase down an opportunity. No matter how you look at it, this is very good at the center because it represents the ability to create some sort of movement. Okay? The other thing with the Six of Swords is it is a card of release. And when we look at the other cards of release, so this could be moving on from a bad relationship, going from one job to another, going from one stage of life to another, progressing. I always see this as a card of progress. Same thing with the Fool and the World. These are ends and beginnings. And this is another portal card here. So I feel like as long as you keep the ball rolling, keep the momentum up, then great things can happen. Let's look at the deep past and see karmically what's coming through. So you received the Ace of Wands in the reverse state. From a health perspective, and that's what I'm getting first, this can be either an inability to focus on something, so concentration issues, or a lack of vitality. The vitality thing is what I really feel called to discuss here first and foremost. When we feel bored, uninspired, frustrated, it starts to affect our health, our physical health. And sometimes we just feel like, I don't want to keep doing this because it's starting to mentally and physically take its toll. So I'd like any of you that are going through that to really address the source. What is causing the frustration, the boredom, the friction? The universe is trying to get you to pay attention to that, all right? So that's message number one. The Ace of Wands is also basically what you see here, like a magic wand. And when the wand is reversed, sometimes we disbelieve or lack faith or vision in our own abilities. And I guess the encouragement here from Spirit is you, of course, need to believe in yourself, but you also should believe in yourself. Don't overthink. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Get into the flow. I also see this as like the conductor's baton, right? And we have this beautiful musician card at the center. Some of you may literally be musicians, but for the rest of us, it's just a reminder that, just like a songwriter, it comes in pieces. Things are going to begin small, but they have the capacity to go really, really big. And we see that. This is the beginning, and this is how big it can go with the World card here. It just requires you to continue to move it forward, one step at a time. All the aces are potential, but they're also the number one. One idea at a time, one word at a time, one step at a time. Don't get ahead of yourself. That Six of Swords will happen on its own if you just start the ball rolling, okay? Recent past, Six of Cups. It's in the reverse state, so some of you are nostalgically looking back at something and thinking, that was good. I didn't realize it until I got here, but I kind of missed that. Distance and time and space always give you that sort of lens of perspective. So maybe you're going to go back and try to rekindle, recapture some of that. But as I said at the very beginning, we can't change the past. All we can do is learn from it and maybe make better decisions in the future and perhaps even surpass it. We don't have to repeat. This is not like a rerun on television or on streaming services where you watch the same episode time and again. You're creating something new. So definitely take a moment and learn from the past, look back at the past, but then take a look at what's around you right now and say, well, but I have this, and if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't have experienced this. You may be deciding, like I said at the center, to put a little bit more focus on relationships. Some of you might be deciding to extend the family as well. When it comes to pregnancy, which by the way, the moon card can be connected to, you may have a surprise here. It could be twins. Typically, it's more fraternal energy than identical with the Six of Cups, but nonetheless, could be twins. Let me see if there's anything else here. Oh, many of you just haven't given yourself enough time to have some fun. So if you are constantly working, constantly focusing on, as I said earlier, trying to be perfect, trying to please others, this card is coming through and saying it might be time for like a road trip or just some time between you and a friend. Let go a little bit, let loose a little bit, and that's going to actually make you more productive and bring more sort of balance in your life as well. Let's move on to your crowning card here, which is the moon. As a card of power, it represents intuition. And this month in particular, it's like the most subtle or instinctive forms of intuition. So it's just, you feel it in your bones. You can step into a room and know if there was an argument. You can look at something and get a quick read and say, this is what I need to focus on. You can also decide if you can trust someone or not. I really want you to focus on first impressions. That's basically what I'm getting at here. We can see this lobster coming out of the water. This can be someone or something that you need to deal with. So if there's someone that's acting a fool, not being honest, lacking integrity, it's basically saying right here and right now, the very next card is the Emperor. It's time to step forward and put down some limits and create some boundaries and establish the leadership that needs to be sort of present and say, you know what, this is what we're going to do, and you're not going to do that. Sometimes it's important to lay down the law, is what I'm kind of getting with that. There's always a chance to look between, usually it's like a wolf and a coyote or a wolf and a dog. You're basically between what society expects you to do and what your instincts are telling you to do. And the path to success is somewhere in the middle. You have to basically find your own way and trust a little bit of both. Take some constructive criticism, trust your instincts, and that's going to keep you on the straight and narrow, okay? Don't get involved with any sort of gossip or any sort of, I would also say like the distractions of competition and things of that nature. There's too many other important things in front of you, okay? Now let's take a look at what it's all setting you up for. The near future card is one of the most powerful ones in this spread so far. Literally, we have the Emperor card, one of the ultimate symbols of power and the ability to set things in motion. He's holding an Ankh, he's holding the globe, he's standing at this portal or at this archway, and he's ready to step through it. So are you ready? Are you ready to take charge? And are you ready also to take accountability? Because the Moon card was coming through, and there may be someone that lacks that accountability, in their life, but you actually have it. You have what they don't have. And this is a chance for you to break a cycle. So whether this is, maybe it's familial, like people just didn't always take accountability in your family. I don't see that as a challenge for you. I think in this moment, you can show your own capacity. If you're working in an office or in an environment or some sort of group where there's a lot of morale issues, this is also about standing up and being the leader and leading by example. Leadership above all else here. We were talking about wounds from the past. In that kind of situation, the Emperor would be someone that you trusted and relied on, like a teacher or a mentor. I don't necessarily read gender when it comes to Emperor or Empress. I will say, though, with the Emperor card, there's a little bit more of the figure of authority. So this could be like a principal, a teacher, or a parent. I'm really getting that kind of energy. And this is where maybe some of that, for you, it could be what the universe is conveying is that you were let down. So if there was that feeling of disappointment or being let down, it's now your chance to just basically trust in your own capability, release that connection with that person. Forgiveness is something you can choose to do if you're ready, and if not, just simply really give yourself the credit that is due for persevering, for being strong, for being a survivor. There's a lot to be said there. This is going to be a great month for those of you that are entrepreneurs, business owners, or self-starters, because this Emperor card is right next to innovation and ideas here with both the page and the ace. And this is, with the ace, this is an idea, and the page is taking it next level. The page is sending it out there. The Emperor is taking charge. And then we see the ability for it to take flight here as we're looking at all of this. Let's go ahead and focus on what you're coming through as this month, the Fool. The Fool is in the reverse state, and there are a couple of things that I'd like to highlight with this. It's not, again, we talked about not trying to run until you've learned to walk, so don't skip a step. Crawling, walking, then running. So there may be 2 or 3 steps to get to where you need to go. Make sure you're taking all of them and not doing any sort of shortcuts. Know where you're leaping before you leap there. So the dog in the Fool card is always there to kind of warn the Fool to pay attention. If you know where you're headed, if you have preparation, contingency, etc., then no matter what you face, you're going to be fine. So this is a moment to slow down, to take each step with a sense of planning, awareness, and presence of mind. And in doing so, you're going to be fine. One step, one thought, one word at a time. Take it slowly, folks, okay? And for some of you, there may be 2 steps forward, 1 step back, like that old Paula Abdul song. You're still making progress. You still, if you subtract that, you're still getting ahead 1 step. So one small setback here and there will not stop the overall progress. Again, right above this, when we look at the environment, is the ultimate card of expansion. Okay? And some of you are being asked to take 1 step back to this because there may be a chance to go even bigger, or maybe you miss something that will help you avoid making a similar mistake or whatever in the future. So you're actually being asked to review your last step or your last success, and from that, you may be able to piggyback or expand or even go a little bit bigger than you thought. The World card in reverse does carry with it a few extra connotations as well. So what we can really infer from this in reverse right now is that the speed that things are happening could be slower or faster than you expect. Same thing with the Fool. You may be trying to rush things, but these cards are saying trust in the cadence and the rhythm that the universe is providing things in this moment. I also like to remind people that when it comes to energy, you shouldn't have to force it. Sometimes there's extra work that needs to be put in, but if there's consistently roadblocks, pay attention to that. If there's consistent ease and things just naturally flow, pay attention to that as well, okay? Don't limit yourself. The world in reverse is contracting a little bit. We don't really want that. So allow the universe, allow other people to tell you when enough is enough. So if you're negotiating for a job, if you're trying to pitch an idea, if you're working on just sort of like conveying your abilities and skills, just be honest and don't worry, and then see what people see in the value of you. Don't ever be self-effacing. This is not the month to do that. Focus on possibilities, release negativity, and be constructive in any criticism that you deliver, because the world has your back. It really feels like this is a chance to expand, okay? It's not about repeating history. As I said here, we can look at the lens of nostalgia, but it's different. The world is different. That's also what this is about. And you have to step into this new world with a clear conscience, an open mind, and an open heart. I do absolutely love that we have the Queen of Wands in hopes, fears, and possibilities. This is one of the best Queen cards because she's innovative. She's out of the box when she's thinking of things. She is able to be very flexible with things, especially when she's upright. Reverse, not as flexible, but upright, yes. And she can spin gold from straw. So she can take something that no one would see value in and create something beautiful. She's already doing it there. She's saying, I have an idea. So this is a month where I really want you to focus on your idea or your dream and see it to fruition. Follow your instincts. That's what that black cat represents there, is the ability to land on your feet, even if the idea is, out there. Sometimes being out there is exactly where you want to be, okay? Again, we have partnership here. You don't have to do this alone. For those of you looking to create movement or progress or launch something new, we see that you may be even guided to partner up with someone, or better because of that partnership as well. And if you're looking for love, there could be a wonderful fire sign that's coming through. We'll talk more about that when I expand the forecast to look at love. The key challenging cards are actually at the top here. So the moon one is a little easier to deal with because it's just about overcoming fear, addressing anything that's in front of you where someone isn't acting the way that they should. Usually the moon is easy to recognize. The Three of Swords can take on a lot of different sort of forms in our life. It could be what we were talking about here, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But you're being asked to slow down just a little bit to heal. I mean, basically the Three of Swords is all about healing. So could it be that some of you are so kind of focused on success and putting out a positive projection or sort of like a picture to the world that you haven't given yourself a chance to get over a setback because you don't want people to see that it hurt or that you're not okay? It's okay to not be okay, if you need to hear that from me. The Three of Swords, though, does represent the last step of healing here. And 4 of Swords is putting it to rest. But the only way you can put it to rest is by saying, I didn't like that, or I don't feel good, or I'm not okay with this. So, I mentioned at the very beginning that even if the person isn't present, whether you're talking to a therapist, talking to, the firmament, to whoever's up there, or just saying it to yourself, somehow, I really feel like opening up the throat chakra and speaking your truth and speaking your emotions, it's going to speed up the healing process, and it's going to have a profound effect on your capacity to just experience more joy and satisfaction in your life. All right? Let's go ahead now and expand this to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. As promised, we're going to start off with health, which is your mind, your body, and your spirit. Here's what we've got here. Beauty. Some of you may not have received this message as a child, so you're going to get it from Spirit and from the Oracle card here, which is, you are lovable, you are beautiful, and the sooner you can see and celebrate that beauty, the sooner you can basically attract people who understand and reflect that as well. There are a lot of cards of reflection. Look at the moon here, look at the moon in this card. How you feel and what you think reflects what you're calling in. Like attracts like. So do the healing work and see the beauty that you are and see the beauty that you create and know that that is going to call in more of the same. All right, let's just look at the cards and see what additional messages are coming through for health. The Fool, the World, and the Six of Swords. If you're thinking of moving from one house or apartment to another, if you're thinking of traveling, or if you're thinking also of just getting something started, like a new health regimen, etc. Yes, on all fronts. Movement and change are the name of the game. And we even see it here with, again, there's another card here of movement and rebirth here. So absolutely, this is the time to get things changed up. Let's see what else is going on here. With the Fool card, this can represent for some of you, very low impact exercise like swimming, walking, also doing things slowly like Pilates. It's not always the speed with which you move, but how much intensity and focus you're putting into that sort of exercise. The standard disclaimer always applies when I'm looking at this. You'll want to work with a health professional, but I am seeing that energy of getting moving, of moving your body. And I get also that, one step at a time with anything this month is the key to success. For some of you, this vitality energy that we were talking about earlier can actually be jump-started by changing the environment that you live in, that you work in, also by going somewhere else and getting inspired, and then again by the sheer act of exercise. The Three of Swords can represent coming back after some sort of a disappointment, a setback, or just finally focusing on dealing with emotions that you have pushed underneath the surface, as we talked about. This is also a reminder for heart health. So this can be cholesterol, blood pressure. For those of you that have a family history of heart disease, basically making sure that you are on the side of longevity by taking care of yourself in diet, in exercise, and in mental health. It all factors into the heart, okay? Otherwise, I really like what I'm seeing here. Again, it feels like an end to stagnation, a beginning of movement. One of the ways that you can really set it in motion is by setting goals for yourself. And maybe some of you want to partner up with a trainer, an advisor, a counselor, someone here to kind of help lead you down the path of success. And we talked earlier about the importance of being diligent, of being responsible, of having discipline. And so sometimes it helps if there is an accountability partner in all of the aforementioned. And that's pretty much everything for health. It does look manageable across the board. Let's go ahead and move on from health to wealth. This is resources, life, purpose, and career. In the area of wealth, major change, major, in the best possible way. So the card was reversed, but let's just look at it upright. We have Archangel Azrael about change and transition. And it says, thank you, Azrael, for leading me safely through the change. I just mentioned that some of you may be able to basically benefit from having an advisor, a guide, or an experienced mentor. We talked about that earlier in the form of the Emperor. This person can help you identify methods to basically succeed, paths of least resistance, and basically keep you accountable. All of that holds true here. Let's go ahead and break this down and look at it on 3 different perspectives, and this will allow me to basically get a little bit more granular. So those of you that have a job, that are seeking employment, and then we'll look at students and retirees. If you're currently employed, if you're not feeling it, it's okay. This card is coming through giving you permission. Don't resist the change. So Azrael, the card is reversed here, change and transition. So some of you are just, you're aware of the change, but for some reason you might be thinking, I can't do it. It's time. It's time to look, at least to kind of get out there and explore. See what's available before making your mind up. Okay, so that's step 1 here. What we're looking at with the Three of Swords in the outcome is you may not be able to achieve the level of either autonomy or independence or creativity that you're seeking where you're at. And if that's the case, again, we're getting change here. Let's look at it from 2 different perspectives within the lens of employment. If you're happy, I'm just going to look at challenges and how to overcome them. And if you're unhappy, I'm going to identify and validate what I'm seeing with that. So assuming that you want to stay where you're at and succeed, in possibilities, we do have the Boss card, the Queen of Wands. She's going to think her way through the Three of Swords. So people are looking to you to basically overcome a challenge. If you can do it, and I think you can, we have the World and the Fool here. There's going to be new opportunities presenting themselves. By the way, if you want to stay in a current company, I should say, the key is probably, for some of you, it could be a transfer to a new division or trying a different job title. You can stay in the company, but experience something different. If there's resistance to change, that's where the challenge comes. Your boss may want you to step into a new role. If you don't want to do that, that could be a point of friction. There could be additional travel going on right now. That also could be a sticking point, especially if your family needs you, or if you want to spend more time with your family, or if you're newly married, you want to be with your partner more. That's what I'm seeing kind of creating some of the friction here. Many of you are really good at generating ideas. And the question now is, do you feel that sense of validation and being seen? If you're willing to step up a little bit or step out a little bit, it feels like there's a lot of opportunity for expansion and visibility, but it kind of boils down to your comfort level and all of that. Okay, so if you're looking for sort of validation on why it might be time to move on, this can be a card of low morale. So there may be difficulties with like people just not being happy and complaining a lot, and that basically weighs on you energetically and mentally for sure. The company could have just grown too quickly, or it might be in a new phase where there's new leadership. And you may not align with that leadership. And for some of you, you've kind of accomplished what you wanted, and it's sort of like there's either a level of burnout or disillusionment, and it's okay for us to get bored, tired, or ready for something new in our life. So I can see all of that for some of you. That's a great segue into the next section, which is going to be those that are job seeking. So I love that we have very clear indication that not only is it okay, but it's advantageous to look outside of where you live, possibly to make a physical move or to be open to travel or to telework. It doesn't look like it's something that you've done before. It may not even be in your city, state, or province. And the ability for you to be flexible and travel a bit or move can open up doors. Now, for those of you that don't want to do that, well, being able to take a trip and see someone face to face, that's also what's going to seal the deal. But it still feels like there may be multiple offices and you're going to have to do a little bit of traveling for the interview, possibly. I would advise that. It looks like some of you are very close. And this month, if you've been waiting for an answer, we get it. The world card is pretty good, but I'm actually paying a lot of attention to this sort of pentacle here in the corner. Don't be afraid to talk about money, talk about contracts. Make sure that you understand compensation in particular. And if it doesn't feel right, validate what it is. Like, be ready to put on the table your best and final. This is a very prepared card. I keep looking at what she's mapping out there. This time around, for those that are job seeking, don't apply to anything where you think, well, I could deal with that or close enough. Let's really make sure that you feel a sense of creativity, independence, and that it's a change of environment. We want to move away from the moon card into the very expansive world. I do get that things could happen really quickly. Fool and world, almost instantaneous, especially when reversed. So the only challenge for you is when news comes, you may have to pick up immediately, maybe break a lease or possibly give less. Well, you're not working another job. It's not about giving notice. I really think that has to do with the lease, but you may not have a lot of time to prepare. So in that case, being as flexible and acting as quickly as possible is going to be key to kind of landing that. Be very, very mindful of understanding morale at any place that you're going to work. Talk to people that have already been there. Look and see what's been written online. Make sure that you vet out all of those options. And how are you going to find it? Well, for some of you, people are looking for your experience. So if you have a unique skill set, something that's niche, if you actually have a lot of experience, there could be a really high-level job that's opening up, like VP or CEO, or someone that's looking for just a senior person, someone with a little bit of gray hair, or just has gone through some stuff. That could actually be advantageous. So lean into your experience. Don't hide it. And let me see if there's anything else. Always a networking card here when we're looking at some of this. So we have the Six of Cups here. This would be someone from school or a really close friend, potentially, that you could tap into that network. Okay, for those that are students, here's what I see. Many of you have just graduated. This makes a lot of sense. It is going to take a little bit of time. You might have your eye on this prize here and thinking I want to get this title, this job, etc. There is sort of a hierarchy that I see for some of you in a chosen path. Now, if you're willing to maybe start your own business or travel or move to a company that is just starting out or something like that, there's another path to this. But I do see one, for whatever reason this month, seniority, experience, or years, basically, years of living or working through something, they're being valued. So don't be hard on yourself. It will come with time, but it feels like if you want to get there faster, there is something that you might have to do on your own. I did caution everyone against shortcuts this month, so I'll continue to echo that there. Sometimes it's worth taking your time on things here. I also get that travel's important. So if you did just graduate, or maybe if you're a year away from it, one of the priorities right now is making sure that you get internships, you've seen the world a little bit, that you have some time to experience things, because you're going to have your whole lifetime to work. And it is amazing, it is fulfilling, but this moment in time is really important. So make sure you're getting a view of the world and you're happy with where you're currently landed, because if not, it's easier to course correct now, okay? Are you on the path to success? Yes, like amazing success here. But there's something about general satisfaction, happiness, or fulfillment that seems to be lacking. So I really want you to focus on your emotional state right now and make sure that that is where you want it to be. Let's focus on retirees now. Change is the name of the game. Whatever you've been doing, now is the time to shake it up a little bit. So if you've been traveling, it might be time to slow down and get your feet on the ground. If you've been stagnating and stuck in one place, it's time to move. Whatever you've been doing, change it up. That's one thing. Explore new opportunities. Step into new situations. So it's not just about changing the routine. It's about experimenting and experiencing things that you haven't before. You're never too old or too young to change it up. That is why I group both retirees and students together. So take the first step towards something new and unknown. I'm looking at the dog here. Some of you also might be looking at adopting or bringing a pet into your life, rescuing a dog or adopting a dog, whatever it might be, or fostering. There's so many different ways to connect with animal energy. So absolutely, if that's something that you're looking at. Going back to school or doing something in the form of teaching or mentorship as well with both of these. But the biggest energy, really, if you have the resources to do it, I'm not getting any pentacles, so you'll have to check in with yourself on that one. But if you have the resources, Six of Swords, Fool, and the World, there's no wrong way to travel. This could be seeing the city by foot in which you live. This could be getting on a plane, train, or automobile and looking at a different city, state, country, or province. This could be taking a longer trip, or this could be reaching out to an old friend and just spending the day with them. It feels like all of the above or one of the above, but somehow getting out of your current situation and seeing what the world has to offer is really, really important right now. The only thing that seems a little bit heavy is relationships and emotions. And that is where the healing can and should be done. So if you're ready, that's what I'm seeing. This nicely transitions us into looking at love and relationships. And as we take a look at the two cards that came through, let's see what Spirit has to say here. So the first one is Sirius Star Blessings. Yes, proceed, be seen, push through. And the second one is Holy Grail. Inner discovery, finding sacredness, you are what you seek. So let's break it down. There's a lot of words on these. I love the cards, but they're almost too dense. So this one is the one with resistance. Some of you are having a hard time saying yes, and I really think it is saying yes to you. When I see reverse cards, a lot of times it's introspective or self-developmental. So you have encouragement and basically permission from the universe to say yes and move forward, okay? So that's number one. And by the way, ultimately, this is just the star. So doing what you need to do in order to feel realized, that's step one to not just happiness, but also happiness in relationships. Some of you are holding out for the Holy Grail, for the perfect sort of example of a relationship. But what this card is also reminding, if you look at it just from a distance, it's like the Ace of Cups. It's all about you. It begins with fulfillment within, finding sacredness. You are what you seek. Amen to that. So you are the Holy Grail. You don't have to go out on some crusade to find it. It's right there. It's right here. It begins within. So back to the one that was presenting, you have to say yes to who you truly are. Put that on display. Be the star. Be like Sirius. And allow for that to attract a similar energy of someone who has found happiness, fulfillment, the Holy Grail within, okay? And that will be your two cups coming together. That's why you want to work on getting your own ace in the upright position, and then you've got the Two of Cups. Okay, we're going to take a look at this on three perspectives. Those in a relationship looking for love or happily single. If you're in a relationship, it's about leveling up. You're either moving up or you're moving out. It's really easy. So if you're moving up, here's what I see. You could be moving in with each other. You could be together, the two of you could be moving for a job, for an opportunity because you want to, for expansion of your family. So definitely moving and changing. You could be traveling together, and you may be taking the first step together in some uncharted or unknown sort of goal or dream together. A lot to love with that. What are the challenges? There could be an age or experience gap. The Emperor typically is one of the most experienced, sometimes one of the older cards. The Queen of Wands isn't too far different from that, but it could be in the 7 to 10 year range. For some of you, it could be more. But there could be sort of generational challenges that come through with respect to like cultural references, understanding of what what is PC and non-PC, like all of that stuff. It changes every 3, 5, 7, 10 years. So the more of a gap, the more of a challenge that might be there. Again, even just pop culture, songs and movies and things of that nature, and definitely technology. Okay, that notwithstanding, the main thing that I'm seeing that could be a fly in the ointment for existing relationships is honesty. If you think you can hide something, you probably can't. And if you do, and it comes out, it's going to be far worse than if you simply come forth and say, this is important, and it's important because I love you, and you just come forth with whatever it is that you think is tricky, because that is what the partnership is there for. Together, the two of you can really go and grow in a new direction, but it requires trust in one another, okay? Active listening, and also this is all about show it, don't tell it. We don't have a lot of swords here. We don't have a lot of pentacles. We have a lot of major arcana cards here. The only swords card is this one. So communicating fears or anxiety or things that are upsetting you, it's going to be key. And then talking about what you do love or showing how you feel is going to be key as well. I do think you can manage this if you want to. Whatever change, whatever opportunities in front of you, it feels like you'll be all right, because near future is the Emperor, opportunities, Queen of Wands. There's a little bit of healing to be done. But we didn't get the Devil here. The Moon is much more manageable than the Devil or the Seven of Swords for that matter. It feels like something's surfacing and needs to be healed, but it feels like if you work on it together, it could take the relationship to the next level. So I'm going to read it in that way. And let's move on to the next piece here. For those of you that are seeking love, there's so many options. That's the challenge here, I would say. There's someone from the past that some of you are thinking about, possibly a water sign, because we have a couple of water energies here. We also have an experienced person that's coming through, either very mature or possibly even just an age gap. We also have a fire sign coming through. Now with these two, we could say water and fire. The question is, what are you looking for? I see a lack of maybe specificity or clarity. And I talked about it, I think, way back in the channeled messages. The clearer you are, the easier it is to manifest, and the easier it is going to be for you to step into something. I do think that there's a chance to either meet someone whom you didn't know that you had this deeper connection to until years later. Sometimes there's a glow up too. You knew someone in school or as a kid and you were friends, but like later in life, you're like, wow, I'm really drawn to this person. So maybe that's something that you're addressing, is both of you had a glow up. There could also just be a past life energy, because Six of Cups can be someone whom you really, really were close to before, and now you want to explore a different facet of that. So it could be a best friend in a past life, but this life, it's a lover. So I definitely get strong possibility for partnership, but the healing component is so important, because if you don't deal with these cards, you're bringing them into the relationship, and then you're attracting a teacher rather than a partner. So that's the only caveat that I have there for those that are seeking. Definitely a really strong fire sign. I like it because it's in the upright position. The person that you're bringing in is likely from another walk of life or a different part of the world, knows what they want, might be a little bossy. If they are, there are two ways you can read these two, because this is one of the oldest cards and this is one of the youngest. So we could be looking at like an age gap, or this could be a younger person with loads of experience, either, you know, just intuitive past life wisdom, or they went through a lot and they kind of like had to grow up fast. Either way, I feel like this is a really solid partner. You just have to be ready for it, because the Queen of Wands knows what they want. So be ready if you're looking for that. All right, if you're happily single, good for you. I think many of you, you're done with that. I can see it very clearly. You're like, I've been through that. There's still some healing that's being done. And I think the reason you're single and happy is you might even be on the heels of either having lost someone or gotten through a breakup. and you're like, I had a great love. Now I want to explore other things. You're enjoying the independence. You're enjoying the travel. You're liking the fact that you can kind of do what you want to do. There's a little bit of this, it's almost like this passion and youth that's coming through. So I think the big opportunity here is for self-growth and realization with the Queen of Wands. That's the possibility card. And stepping into something and just really loving that you can call the shots. So independence, entrepreneurial energy, and self-realization is coming through for those that are single and happy, and good for you. Let's go ahead and move on to the Destiny card. Release harsh judgments about both yourself and others. The Judge in reverse is just like Judgment, and it also is about releasing fears or disbelief about yourself and about others, just really allowing things to be a fresh start. And if we look at let's see, I'm going to pull up the slide that I had here. I won't have to even look through the deck because it's right there. So the Judgment card is basically renewal, rebirth, resurrection, bouncing back. All of that is coming through. And I talked about the top card here. Some of you might be needing to let go of some of that inner wound that you had from the past, whether deep past or recent past, it doesn't matter. Whatever someone thought or didn't think about you, it is inconsequential when it comes to what you can do. All that matters at the end of the day is, what do you think of you? And if you can see it and believe it, you can do it. All right? Let's go ahead now and take it a little bit deeper into sun, rising, and moon sign messages and see what's in store. Aquarius sun, Aquarius rising, and Aquarius moon. Here we go. All right, starting off with sun sign first. One of the best cards that you could get when it comes to just being able to make things happen. Three of Wands, from a time perspective, it means now or very, very soon. The ships are coming in this month, this week, today. Be ready. As soon as you're ready, things can start to happen. There's a travel component, yet again, one of many travel cards. I always mention that there's a little bit of passive energy in the Three of Wands in some decks, this one included. You always have the option of getting out there, meeting the ship halfway, or meeting it on the pier. So don't be afraid to show interest. Look in multiple directions. She's just looking there. What's happening to the right, to the left, to behind her? There's even more options than we see in this particular illustration. But when it comes to goals and dreams, this is validation that they can, will, and are happening. And when it comes to call to action, like I said, it's a little bit more active, a little bit more proactive on your part. And your plans have a great chance of coming to fruition. To get to the Three of Wands, we need to take this ace, bring the Two of Wands, which is planning and vision work together, and then this will happen. So believe in yourself, plan, and then look around, because signs and signals are all around you, okay? Let's move on to rising sign messages. Temperance. Be patient with yourself, be patient with others. Listen to your inner guidance. This is one of the biggest angelic cards that I can pull. You had an angel here of change, the angel of death. So we have the angel of death here, and then we have temperance coming in to help you deal with change, one step at a time. Temperance is focusing on emotional healing, the two cups representing, finding balance in your life. She always has one foot on water, one foot on land. So one step at a time, one day at a time, dealing with the emotional things and not rushing yourself, not going to extremes, not overworking, not over-exercising, not overeating, not overreacting. One breath, one step, one thought at a time. Again, that's a common theme this month, Aquarius. Moving on to moon sign messages. Are you driving or are you in the sort of passenger seat? And are you going to do this on your own, or are you going to bring in help? Because we have two motorcycles here, two cycles. We were talking about that. You may either be learning how to do this yourself. This is very connected to what I talked about at the beginning, or you may be training someone. And you may also be at a point where you're taking off the training wheels when we think of like a bicycle. So you have the capacity to do this because we have the ultimate boss card, the Emperor. This is like middle management or a step in between the Emperor and where you're at. So I feel like if you can just let go of having to be perfect and allow yourself to learn something new, you are going to master that and eventually get into the Emperor energy that we see here. Someone may be testing your boundaries for sure. The Chariot in reverse can be someone trying to take the reins from you or trying to point you in which direction you should go, and you get to decide if you want to. You always have the choice to get behind the wheel and drive. Let's go ahead now and take a look at, I know what many of you love here, the final card. This is your chance to basically ask any question. So close your eyes, meditate, and we'll allow Spirit here to speak up. We're not going to read the whole deck here. Here we go. Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups is an interesting card because it's not really a yes or no. I can tell you what you need to do to get to the yes or no. The first thing that I'm getting from Spirit is some of you are complicating things. So think in less complicated terms. You don't have to worry about every possible thing that could go right or go wrong. Really focus on listening to your intuition on this one and go with the thing that on a heart and soul level really connects the most. If you're not clear, ask questions. If you're not sure, research a little bit. Give yourself deadlines. That's going to help you as well. This is the key to your success this month. Plan it, ask some questions, sketch it out a little bit, and then trust that you've done what you need to do. So I would say if I had to choose a yes or no for this, it would be not yet until you get the clarity. So however you need to get the clarity, research, asking questions, or simplifying. Do that first, then act based on the best outcome of that, whatever the research or your gut instinct is pointing to. But right now, there's too much hesitation. There's too many variables at play, and possibly you're overcomplicating things a little bit. This is a great time to explore, to research, to brainstorm. So yes to all of those, but I do think it's important to have certain parameters and certain limits so you don't go too far down the rabbit hole. Okay? That's everything this month. I really do appreciate your time and energy here. If you enjoyed this, do me a quick favor. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what kind of things are going on with respect to like travel, life changes, and basically what it is that you're getting clarity on this month as well. What resonated? I do read these and I appreciate all of your participation. By the way, if you want to get additional reminders of what's going on, you can follow me on social media. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, on all major platforms. So in advance, I'd just like to say thanks for following me. Remember, I don't give private readings. I get that question a lot below, or I see imposters out there. So if anybody offers a private reading, block and report. If anyone's trying to direct message you, also block and report. That's not me. If you want to show support, you can do it through super stickers, super chat, super thanks, and memberships. And I just want to say thanks to you. Without your help, support, and participation, I wouldn't be here. So thank you for being the best part of what I do on YouTube. Wishing you all the best in the month ahead. Take care, and I'll see you soon.